Hello, salve. My name is David from Immersio, and welcome to the short video where we go through the Latin of episode 1, season 1 of the show Barbarians, Wolf and Eagle. I'm going to walk you through each of the Latin phrases and sentences that are found in this episode. My purpose isn't really to critique it. It's not to comment on how it's performed or pronounced or written, but rather give you the setting and explain it to you so that you then can internalize this Latin and use it in your own daily, or maybe not so daily, life. So let's get started. In the first scene with Latin, you have Metellus. He's this imposing Roman on horseback. He rides up to the tribe with his other cavalrymen with him, and he says, Caesar sancta orbis Romae Augustus nom legatum ad Germania misit, senatorem publium quinctilium varum. So using the standard object verb of Latin, he says, Caesar sancta orbis Romae Augustus. So Caesar Augustus, that is Caesar Augustus, or of the Caesar family, revered one. Augustus was the title that Octavian used, or Gaius, as his friends called him, but the emperor, right? And in good Latin style, you have the two titles. They're in the nominative case, and you have them kind of in a sandwich between them, what it's of in the genitive. So Caesar sanctae orbis Romae. So Caesar of the holy, sanctae orbis Romae, of the holy city Rome, Augustus. This sounds very formal in Latin. Sanctae means holy, orbis Romae, of the city Rome. Note that in Latin, especially classical Latin, orbis, from which we get words like urban, often refer to just the city, like Roma. This is the city. Other settlements might be called oppida. So here he comes, Caesar sanctae orbis Romae Augustus, nom legatum, a new legate. Nom, new, legatum, a new legate. That's like a legal representative. Ad Germaniam, to Germania, to Germany. So you have the border, which is still unsettled between Romania and Germania. So between the two peoples, Germania is the would-be name of this area. And he says, misit. This is the past of mitere. So he has sent a new legate to Germania. And the new legatum is in the accusative case. The new legate is senatorem publium quinctilium varum. So these are all in the accusative case, in apposition to legatum, that is explaining who this legatus is. It's senatorem, the senator, the elderly, revered one. Publium quinctilium varum, these are his tria nomina. Roman citizens, especially of the upper classes, tended to have three names, the tria nomina. That's a subject for another video, but his name was Publius, and then the family names are Quinctilius Varus. So this new person's come. And so after Metellus says this, they clearly don't understand. Someone has to translate, and he says, Futuite, bello aiste porro nil tenent. Now, futuite seems kind of odd here. Formally, this is an imperative. He's speaking to his fellow troops, and it would mean something like, have intercourse with these people. I think they're trying to express disparagement, to kind of say, these people. Perhaps here something more like malum would be more appropriate. I don't believe in my research that futuite is used in this sense, but nevertheless, that's what they said. And here's the key part. So maybe you would say just malum or mercole, something like this. He then says, belloa istai porro nil tenent. So a belloa is a wild beast. Belloa istai is like these beasts, referring to Germanic peoples who don't understand Latin. Maybe you could use it for people who don't understand Latin. Anyway, belloa istai. Istai is the demonstrative that's Grammatically, second person, it's like this people by you, the people I'm talking to. You can often use this in context to be derogatory, like here, so bello ahí stai. So when people don't know Latin, you can say malum, bello ahí stai, porro nil tenet. Porro means at a distance or much. Nil, nil or nil, nothing, tenent, from tenere. They don't hold anything. So they're hearing it, but they're not understanding the Latin at all, right? So you see people, you speak to them in Latin, they don't understand. You could say bello aiste porro nil tenent. Now here's what he has to say. Here's the subject of the message is post hoc. So post hoc means after this, post hoc. From now on would be good English. Roma tributo vostra non amplius remisur est. Roma is the subject. Tributo vostra is the object. Tributa is your tribute, your gifts. This is in the plural accusative. Vostra is an alternative to vestra. The O and E interchange or shifts is something cross-linguistically seen, but it gives it kind of a rustic feel. Vostra would be more of an older form. Vestra would be the quote-unquote correct form you would see in most textbooks. So Roma tributo vostra, so all of your tribute, non amplius, no longer, no longer. Non amplius is a phrase like non amplius, no more. Remisur est, remisur est. It's no longer going to be forgiven. So remisura is a future participle from remitere, to send again. We have the English remit from this. Here, the context is something like forgiven. It's not going to be let go. We won't let this slide. Remisura est, it is to be let go. It is. This is a periphrastic construction that is using a participle with esse, a form of to be. So remisura est non amplius tributo vostra. Your tribute is no longer going to be forgiven. That is, you have to start giving it post hoc from now on. And here's what the tributa is. He says varus. Varus is the senator, the legatus from Rome. And he says exigit ad omni tribu. Exigit, he demands ab omni tribu, from every tribe, pretium. He wants this price. Vicenum boum. Vicenum is a distributive adjective, means 20 each, something like this. So ab omni tribu, vicenum boum exigit, right? He wants 20 oxen from each tribe. Well means or in Latin. Latin has a few words to express the or in English. Well is like, you can do this one, this one or that one are your choices. Pick one of them. It's less focus on the logical, like and or, from which for which out would be more appropriate. But nevertheless, I digress. So, quinquagennum ponderum frumenti centenari, or 50 each quinquagennum, like vicenum is 20 each, quinquagennum is 50 each, ponderum frumenti centenari. This is centenars, a centenar. I'm not sure what people say in English, of grain. So you can either give 50 of these centenar weights of grain or 20 oxen. And the people are like, as it's obvious, the king of the tribe is not happy. He says, quid, right? Because he had looked at me, he's like, seid ihr blind? Like, can't you see that, we don't have this? And he says, the Roman says, quid dicitrum. Quid means what? And when you're in a position of power, it expresses that you're, kind of offended. You're like, I dare you to say that again. Dic itrum. Dic is what you'd say to one person. Dic itrum. Say it again. Quid dic itrum. Maybe think, in Latin, someone's challenging you. And you say, quid dic itrum. Right? Those are fighting words. In this case, the Roman wins, and the Germanic leader, he backs down. And here is the ultimatum. He says, spatium vobis est tridum. So spatium is space, vobis, the space for you est tridum. Tridum is 3 days. So you have 3 days left. Spatium mobis est tridum. Then they ride off. Next scene. So you have Arminius, who's the protagonist, coming presumably from Rome after a long journey. He comes into the Roman camp in Germania, and there is Varus, the senator, the nos legatus. And he's sitting there waiting for him, and he's looking at Arminius, and he says, Nunc demum advenisti, fili mi. So nunc demum, now at last. Right? Demum, now at last. In Latin, nunc demum. Right? Finally now. Nunc demum advenisti. Ad, to advenisti, you have arrived. You have come here. Venire means to come. Advenire means to arrive. You're finally here, right? Nunc demum advenisti. Filii mi. So filius means son, meus means me. With many nouns that end in ius, the vocative is just e, filii, not filie, but filii. So filii, me. Meus as a vocative singular is often me, so filii me, my son, filii me, nunc demum advenisti, filii me. So when you see friends coming after a long time no see, you can say, nunc demum advenisti, whoever they are, filii me. Here's why. And he says, in Germania, so into Germania, optatus arest. So optare is to wish for something. So optatus is wished for, desired. And this is a bit of an idiom, optatus arest. Ad esse means to be somewhere, to arrive. So you are welcome into Germany, right? Optatus arest. He's talking to Arminius. And he says, gratum est. Gratum est, it's pleasing, right? Gratum est. What is pleasing? He says, gratum est post tam diutinam moram itrum te videre. It's so pleasing or nice. Post tam diutinam. Post tam is after such a, in this case, diutinam moram. Diutinus means for a long time, a very long. Mora is a period of time or a delay in this case. So postam diutinam moram, after such a long time, right? Postam diutinam moram, gratum est itrum te videre. Itrum means again, like we heard earlier from dic itrum again, te videre, to you again, to see you again. So gratum est itrum te videre, postan diutinam moram, filii mi, something like this. So when you haven't seen someone in a long time, you can just say, gratum est postam diutinam moram te videre, itrum. As a comment of why it's so nice to see him, he says, in hac insanorum terra. So in this, in hac terra, in this land, insanorum. Insanorum could be masculine or neuter. So it could be in this land of the insane people or of insane things. My intuition is that it's more the people. Insanorum means insanus, that is not sanus, not sane, not healthy. By Roman standards, that is. He says, this is why it's so nice to see you, is that in hac insanorum terra, te consilisque tuis pulcherrime uti possum. So te consilisque tuis. So you, te, can be ablative. In this case, it's ablative without context. You might think it's accusative, but he's saying in this land of the crazy people or things, te consilisque tuis. You and your advice. So when you see consilisque tuis, when you hear that, it's ablative. Consilis, consilia, and the plural is used to refer to advice, as in like bits of counsel, you might say. So the reason is that in this land of these crazy people, you and your advice, right? Pulcherrime uti possum. Pulcher means beautiful. Pulcherrime is superlative, like most beautiful. This is like an elative sense. It's so beautiful. It's so nice. Uti possum. I am able to use uti, Uti takes the ablative case, so I'm able to use you and your advice in this land of craziness right now. This is why it's so gratumest, right, to see him. Okay. This next scene, we have Metellus. He's coming back to look for the tribute. And as he's riding in, he says to his soldiers, Scrutis istis vic sculus tergitor. So scruta is something like trash, useless things. Scrutis istis, again, using iste to refer to this in a derogatory way. Scrutis istis. So here it's like with this trash, vix culus tergitor. Weeks means barely. Culus refers to your butt. I don't sense that it's quite as vulgar. It's somewhere between butt and the A word in English. So something like culus tergitor. Tergitor from tergere means to clean. In English, we have detergent from this word. So, your butt and what you do with your butt, right? You can barely clean it with this trash. Now, in my experience, trash is never very good for cleaning your butt, but who am I? So that's what he says. Now, in the scene, he says, anyway, the word is age. Age is how you talk to one person and tell them to do something. Like, come on, age, age. Agite would be for multiple people, age for one. In the scene, he says age. Totally wrong. Nevertheless, age, age. When you tell someone to hurry up, age. When you tell a group to hurry up, agite. Now, as they're looking through it and, they're trying to get together all the oxen and grain that they can, he's looking at this and he says, hoc minime est compare ius quod Roma exigit. So, hoc means this, minime est. By no means is, like minus, minus in English means not much, so minime est. Like by no means is, right? Hoc minime est. This is by no means compare. Compare is an adjective that means comparable or suitable. In the singular masculine feminine neuter of the nominative case, in this case, it doesn't change form. So compare, eus quod, of the thing which Roma exigit. So eus quod Roma exigit, of the thing which Roma exigit. He gave the tributa that varus exigit omni tribu before, so he's saying that hoc minime est compare ius quod Roma exigit. This is barely comparable to what Rome demands. But he knows I can't get more. So what he does to really show Rome's superiority as the conquering nation and Germania and its tribes as a subjugated people, he wants the leader of the tribe to show his fidelity to Rome. So he says, legatus varus. So speaking of the legate varus, signum fidei vestrae erga Roma manet. So the legate varus, this is good Latin subject, object, verb, word order. Legatus varus, signum fidei vestrae. Signum is a sign. Fidei vestrae. Fides can be fidelity. You're loyal, your loyalty. So this is you plural. Notice it's vestrae instead of vostrae, like we heard before. So signum fidei vestrae erga Romam. So it's the fidelity erga toward Romam. Manet. Manet from manere means awaits. It's there. So the idea is varus is waiting for the signum fidei. He's waiting for a sign of fidelity, erga Romam, from the tribes. And if you know anything about Roman history, Romans love their standards. So what they do is the other soldier has the eagle standard on the pole, and he's lowering it down. It's actually what you can see here. And here's the instruction. He says, Basiet aquilam dux vester. So basiet is a subjunctive. That is, let kiss, right? So kiss the eagle, aquilam, in the accusative case. Dux vester. So dux vester is your leader. Let your leader kiss the eagle. Basiet aquilam dux vester. Basiet as the kind of, it's the command. It's indirect, third person, but gives more of a formal feel. It's like, now's the kissing time. I won't ruin the show. There is some scuffles. People obviously don't want to kiss the eagle. Bad things happen. But When the king finally submits, he says, Age, again, Age to one person, Age, ingenua, on your knees, into the knees. Genua is the plural, inner knees, ingenua. So you can tell people, Age, ingenua, when you want them to get on your knees. He kisses the eagle. And as he rides away, he says, Roma victrix, Rome as the conqueress. And then the troops, shouting, Roma victrix. In my opinion, historically, this still is a little odd. It makes a good narrative for the show, but Rome really was trying to make friends, to pit nations against the others, not necessarily anger everyone. But sorry, I digress. The Latin Roma victrix, Rome is conqueress. You can kind of shout that out as you go on the road. Maybe you drive by someone, Roma victrix. You find a setting for it. Okay. All right, last thing. So in the camp, the setting is Arminius with Metellus, the guy who's on the horse. Metellus, he's coming in and he holds one barbarian. And from the context, this is after they've given the tributa, they've given the warnings and gotten the tribute. And this is what he says to Varus. So Arminius is speaking to Varus, and he says, Maxima pars tribum deditionem fecit, et iam tributa condulit, at non iste. So maxima is like maxima, older form. The u to e is a transition that took place. So the majority piece of the tribes, maxima pars, the biggest piece, tribum, because tribus, it's a fourth declension u noun. So tribum is of the tribes, genitive plural. So the majority of the tribes, you might say almost all the tribes, maxima pars tribum, deditionem fecit. So deditionem is they're giving up. This is the giving that, deditio means something like a giving. So in this context, it's a surrender. So they've all deditionem fecit. The majority of the people have done. Fecit is the past of facere, the generic verb meaning to do. So they've surrendered. The majority of them have done the giving. Et iam tributa contulit. And already, iam tributa contulit. They've, conferre. They have brought with them their tribute. So he's saying most of it's been done. At non iste. At is like sid, at, but not iste. Again, this one. And speaking second person iste, second person demonstrative adjective, but not iste, non iste, not this one. Then Varus says at non iste. It appears in this setting that he's kind of echoing what Arminius said, because you'd use iste when maybe referring to that which you were there, but for that person to repeat iste is a bit odd. But nevertheless, he says at non iste. You might say east to refer to this one, or ille would be that one over there. I digress again, sorry. So at non iste, but not this one. He's looking at him, and Varus says, Concedo tibi spem extremam, barbare. So concedo is I concede to you. I'm conceding tibi to you. Spem extremam. A last chance. Spes means something like hope or an opportunity. So I'm giving you a last chance. To say that in Latin, you say concedo tibi spem extremam. Barbare. Barbare is the vocative of barbarian. So if you're talking to a barbarian, you can say concedo tibi spem extremam. He doesn't have anything of it. And then Arminius, he quickly says metelle. No. So metellus is a name. If you talk to someone whose name is us, if you're referring to them, you say so metelle. It's kind of like, don't do the thing yet. And then Arminius is talking to Varus, and he says, Tribus id tamen non intelligit, apodeus jus vetat quemquam capite damnari ab alio homine. So tribus id tamen non intelligit. So a tribe, this, id, tamen, nevertheless, non intelligit. The tribe doesn't, really understand this. Now, the subtitles, something is going on. I'm not here to quibble about the subtitles, what they were in the show, but this is a singular, right? So if you said tribus intelligit, like it'd be like the tribe doesn't understand this thing. It'd be less common for it to refer to any tribe in general. There's other ways to express that in Latin. But nevertheless, I take this to be like the tribe that this one is from, Iste is from, he doesn't understand this. Id is neuter, this kind of thing. He's trying to give him advice, right? So, tribus itamen non intelligit. Now, here's the reason why. Apud egus, apud means among them. So, in their customs and their way, apud egus, use. So, use, like we get jury, juridical in English. Use, juris means law or the customs and norms. So, apud eus jus vetat. So, among eos, third person, among them, jus vetat. So, the law, vetat, in English, we have veto in laws. So it prohibits, it forbids. Quemquam, quemquam is accusative, means anyone. When you have this kuka thing going on, it's like indefinite. Quemquam. So according to them, apud eus, jus vetat quemquam. The law prohibits quemquam capite damnari. Capite means by the head, damnari. Damnari means to be damned, but in a kind of a legal sense, like sentence that you're guilty. To be damnari is passive. So capite damnari means to be sentenced by the head, which is a way of saying to death. This is why in English we talk of capital punishment. Capital, capite, caput is the head, capite, by the head. So ab alio homine, this is by another person. Ab is like an ablative of agent, you would say. Ab alio homine, to be condemned to death. So basically, among them, there's no death penalty. A person, right? Ab alio homine, ius apud eos vetat quemquam damnari capite, right? So they don't have the death penalty among them, right? In their use. And then Varus, though, he gets very upset. He's jus vero Germanicum nullum. Doesn't even say est, just a statement. Jus vero. So a use, a law, vero means, however, but from verum, truth. Jus vero, but jus Germanicum nullum. A Germanic law, nullum. There is no Germanic law, right? He's saying, I don't care what their customs are. Jus vero Germanicum nullum. There is none. Verum autem, verum, but, however, autem, it kind of means like, and however, but however, verum autem, Romam. Rome is. So there is no German law, but there is Rome. Okay, so jus verum Germanicum nullum, verum autem Romam. Tandem eiso experto opust. So tandem means at last, eis, for them, experto opust. It's necessary for them, experto, from experire, to experience, opust. So opus est means there is a necessity. Opus means work, but a common idiom is opus est, which would be shortened to opus, opust, opust, opust. It's necessary for them to experience something. So you don't hear what that is, but it's going to be more punishment. And later on, not strictly part of the scene, you see Arminius writing and he says, ite hac, vos, ilac. So ite means go, plural. So I would be to one person. To multiple people, you say ite. Ite hac means like this way. Vos, you all. Ilac, that way. And you can see the cavalry riding in both directions to give the Roman law. So I hope you found this a helpful walkthrough of the Latin of episode 1, season 1 of the show Barbarians. If you want to learn even more of this Latin and be able to express these things, of course, feel free to sign up at Immersio. See you next time. Thank you.